And here we go. Welcome in to another edition of Bucky and BK. Today is Monday, August 17th, 2026. And the Buck and I are with you for the next 2 hours on today's show. Plenty of takeaways from Texas's first scrimmage of fall camp. Who stood out? Who needs to step up? We've got the latest and greatest, plus plenty of sound from Steve Sarkisian's post-practice availability. We'll chop it up with Tyler Horka of Inside Texas and get his thoughts and takeaways on everything that went down on the 40 acres. We've got plenty of NFL conversation to dive into as well. The Dallas Cowboys signing a future Hall of Famer on defense, some preseason takeaways from the Cowboys opener, and some big storylines from around the league. Scotty Scheffler did it again. We'll talk some PGA Tour. We've got the BBK news and why today's not so bad as well. We are locked and we are loaded and we are ready to roll on a Monday program. We appreciate y'all starting your weeks off with us. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. And the Bucks load is fully managed. He is back on a Monday show. Good to see you, my man. How are you today?
I'm fabulous, man. Really good couple days off. And, I spent it in the heat. I didn't run away from it. I stayed in it. I worked in it. I got some workouts in it. It is what it is. It's August in Texas. No escape except for you, the smart one. The almighty Oz that understands, let me get the hell out of this place. There is no chance. It's warm and, first week back to school and, a lot of heavy hearts around this area after what happened over at Lake Travis. So it's been, I got a week from this Friday before Lake Travis will play Dripping Springs in the opener at Dripping Springs. And boy, you're talking about heavy hearted. I've been around football for a long time. I've never had a situation where a player has been lost. I know there's been, players in college, but at the high school level, my prayers go out to the Lake Travis family, the young man's family, Coach Carter and his staff. It's got to be hard in the first week of practice. BK, no practices, just a week that goes by with a bunch of heavy hearts, and you just never expect anything like that, but things like that happen. When the good Lord calls for you, he's coming to get you no matter where you are, what time it is. It's just going to happen that way. And all you can do is just to pray for that family, that they can recover, this football program can recover, and people that surrounded that young man, not just in the football part of it, but classmates and people that knew him well, family members, the whole works. So it's been a tough week. Been kind of it has been tough. And, me reflecting on how lucky I've been to have had a bunch of players that have played for me and never have been in that kind of situation, because I wouldn't know what to do. Obviously, I wouldn't know what to do as a parent, much less a football coach. So not been fun, but we move right along.
Yeah, awful story. We talked about it a little bit last week. Odin Hensley, the 17-year-old senior at Lake Travis High School, losing his life, suffering cardiac arrest during a Lake Travis practice. And yeah, an awful story. And the community has rallied. They've come together. They've been there for the family. But just a horrible, horrible tragedy. A young man gone way too soon. And yeah, it's tough to think about football, I'm sure, for Lake Travis. I mean, like you said, they start 1 week from Friday as high school football gets going very, very soon across the state of Texas. I know that's hard to keep that top of mind with that situation that happened. Just so
it's rough because you've got kids that, you got a small minority of kids that play the sport of football, but you have an entire high school there that may have known him in some way, shape, or form that he's touched, and it was the first week of school. I mean, that's not the way you want to start your school year out, trying to get ready to get your studies, and that first week, and this is what happened. So that has affected a lot of people in that area. I've left a message for Coach Carter, and I just pray that they can understand that things like this go on in life, and it's not because you're a football player. It's things that happen, and you can't detect a lot of things. It just, people have underlying issues all over the place, and I mean, it could have happened at any time. I mean, it was early in the morning. They were hardly even they practiced at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. They're not out in the heat running around. And like I said, when it's your time, you don't get to escape that time. That's a part of life. Death is a part of life, and I feel bad for the kids, the whole entire area, the school.
Yeah.
Trying to get back to trying to get to class and doing everything else. So our prayers go out to them, and football players that still have to go on and play football. You just play the game. Just start to enjoy the game. There'll be a lot of people that will step lightly in the game, and there'll be a lot of parents that are wondering, should my kid be playing football? Are you doing everything you can do? And I'm sure they're doing everything they can. That place will do everything it can. When it comes to physicals and everything else, is just very unfortunate. So
Yeah.
it just is. And good day to the soldiers at Fort Hood, Texas, the soldiers in the state of Texas, and all those that fight for us each and every day. Thank you so very much for what you do. We appreciate what you do for us each and every day. And to you and your families, you also please be safe out there.
Yes, indeed. Well said, as always. And yeah, I'll echo the sentiments. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Lake Travis community and family and friends of Odin Hensley. And just really, really sad story. And look, Central Texas, you talk about it a lot, Buck. It's a very giving community. When people need help,
Yes.
this community does a tremendous job of stepping up. There was a GoFundMe started last week for Odin Hensley's family, and it's up over $200,000 in donations at this point. So obviously that doesn't take away the sting of the loss of a loved one, but it has been cool to see this family or this community gather around this family, and they're going to need it. They are definitely going to need it.
Yeah, you got to like this sport in order to stick with it here. It won't be about wins and losses. It'll be about getting out there and doing what you grew up from Pop Warner. I mean, this is just high school. We haven't even got to the point where you go to college and you may be in the NFL, but we're talking about still the beginning of your sports career. It's you've got to like it an awful lot after what just happened to go out there and do it. Just go out and enjoy the game. Don't worry about win. Don't worry about loss. It's just the fact that you can still be out there playing is going to be a lot for that football team. I'm not even looking at wins and losses for them. I'm looking at the fact that do the kids look like they're into it, or do they have, are they walking lightly? Some will, some won't. Some parents want to know, what else can we do? I mean, it's just going to be a lot of thinking going on over for the whole year. It's not going to go away in a month. It's not going to go away in 2 months. It's not going to be like the team is healed in 2 months. This is a whole season long of thought every time you step on the field. Every time, not just sometimes, but every time. So they've got to get over that fear,
Yeah.
And I don't know how to tell. I don't know what any words. I'm just a coach. I'm not a minister. I don't know how to tell you to get over that kind of fear. It's just, if you love the game, you go play the game. Everything else is not in your hands. It's in the good Lord's hands,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Tough story. No doubt about that. Moving over to Texas football, Buck, we are inching closer to the start, of course, of the high school season, but also the college football and NFL seasons as well. Just 19 days away from Texas opening up the year against Texas State. And over the weekend, on Saturday, the Longhorns held their first scrimmage of fall camp. The big takeaway, no major injuries from Saturday.
Yes, number one.
A couple of guys getting nicked up. Maybe there will be some green non-contact jerseys in practice this week, but nothing major to report from a health standpoint. The biggest, I guess, health report that we have is there apparently was a flu outbreak in the locker room last week. And a number of guys were unable to participate in Saturday's scrimmage, not because of injury, but because of the flu. So
yeah.
If you're gonna have one, Buck, I guess now is better than during the season, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. You get that summer flu, BK. It's already hot. You're already dehydrated as it is from the flu itself. You get out there and lose a bunch of weight, then you can't catch up to that weight, and you only got a couple more weeks before the season starts. They're going to be very, very careful with guys that have lost a lot of weight to dehydration. And if they're still sick, you put them out there and they lose more weight. That's scary too. So, yeah, that's, as you said, better now than when the season starts. Let that bug run through everybody and get it over with.
Now, do we need to hold Steve Sarkisian accountable for not having his players say this?
I'll never have the flu. I'll never have the flu.
I don't understand how they catch the flu. First of all, if you say he'll never have the flu, you never have to worry about it. We need to tell him that's all you have to say is I'll never have the flu. Somebody in the program said, listen, we'll never have pneumonia. We won't have an injury during practice, but during our scrimmage, But somebody forgot to say we'll never have the flu during the week. Get it
Mm.
over with, and that sucks when you're with a team, dude. When you get that, and you've been a part of being around a bunch of guys, whether it's a dorm room or an apartment. When one gets it, it's just like going to school for the first time for a little first grader, dude. If somebody wipes their nose and then they put their hands on your shoulder, next thing you know, that's at the house, and everybody's got it.
Oh yeah,
And it runs deep with the college guys because they're not necessarily. There's sometimes they eat good, and there's sometimes they eat lousy.
Oh, for sure. Well, they're spending a lot of time together these days. So if one
Yes.
person
Oh my
catches
goodness.
it, there's a good chance a few guys are going to catch it. And
Oh,
that's clearly what happened at Texas. But yeah, it's a dang coaching mistake by Steve Sarkisian for not saying,
yes.
I'll never have the flu, or not getting his guys to say, I'll never have the flu.
That should be it at the meeting today. I'll never have the flu. That's it.
Yeah. It's worked for you for how long?
It's since COVID. Well,
Okay.
yeah, since COVID. I've not been sick since COVID. I've not had a cold.
Wow. Well, there you go. That's because you've been saying I'll never have the flu every year
Yeah,
around this
I'll
time.
never have the flu. Now I may have pneumoniya, and you know me, I'll get a stroke here or there, or amnesia or something like that, or have to get on the treadmill. But I'll never have the flu.
I'll never have the flu. So that was one of the storylines from fall camp, is a number of guys had to miss the scrimmage because of the flu. Here was Steve Sarkisian kind of talking about the outbreak and also giving a few thoughts on how his team performed in the scrimmage on Saturday at DKR.
I don't know an exact number, Kirk, and I'm anticipating we may have a few more that fought through today. We'll see what happens. We have obviously an off day tomorrow, but that's part of life, and there's no telling. We couldn't get a flu bug in any game this season. And, what do we do to our best of our ability as a staff to manage that, keep guys hydrated so that they can contribute from a ball game standpoint? I would probably just say first scrimmage out, I would lean to the defense. Again, a couple red zone turnovers. I thought they got off the field. Again, that's not to take anything away from the offense, because I thought there were some explosive plays. Like I said, the run game I was encouraged by. But again, when you don't have a game plan, we were just trying to work ourselves through some stuff. But again, I didn't see anybody today that I felt like the moment was too big. And that's big going into our first scrimmage. Now, we need to be better next Saturday. And I just told the team that, individually, we've all got to take a step forward. We've all got to continue to improve so that we can get better as a team, because we're not a finished product. But I do think for a week and a half into training camp, today served as a good kind of barometer for where we're at, where our weaknesses are, where we need to improve, where our strengths are that we can lean into. But I would probably say the defense was a little bit ahead today.
Oh, that means Will Muschamp's defense was kicking the living crap out of them on Saturday again. Here we go. They'll win next week, BK. They'll be better next week. Offense will be better next. You'll hear about them. They're not going to they won't go 2 straight weeks where Muschamp gets to sick his dogs on these guys and send all kinds of blitzes. It'll be controlled that the offense wins a little bit next week.
Yeah, you might be right. Now, there were some good moments from the offense over the weekend. It wasn't a total domination by the defense, but yeah, Arch Manning threw a couple of interceptions, including one in the end zone. You heard Steve Sarkisian mention a couple of red zone turnovers for the offense. I don't love hearing that, considering the red zone woes that this program has had over the last couple of years. Now, we're talking about practice, man. You don't want to overreact too much. And again, these things are all net zero. So Jonah Williams had an interception of Arch Manning. That's awesome. You obviously hate hearing Arch throw his interceptions, but you like hearing that Jonah Williams is out there making plays, and you like hearing that he's out there in general. So it's almost sort of net zero with these things. But the defense was ahead of the offense to start last season. So I know some Longhorn fans probably have UTSD hearing that the defense is currently ahead of the offense.
Dude, we believe that the defense knocked the crap out of them all summer long last year. They're not going to fool us with, we had a good week. No, you didn't. Your offensive line did not hold those guys out.
Yeah, but what's interesting is –
and it's different for them too. Now they're going against a different type of defense. They're going different schemes now all of a sudden, and it's full-out go, scrimmage type stuff. So I would expect – and I expect the defense to be ahead no matter what. I just do. It's just I've been around football long enough to know offensively you don't ever come out I've never been around a coach in first scrimmage where our offensive side was so excited about how we used and abused the defense. It just never works out that way.
Yeah, there's no cause for concern there because I
No.
think you're right. You obviously know better than I do, but I've always heard that the defense is ahead of the offense early on in camp. But you think maybe this year with Steve Sarkisian going into his 6th year, right? This scheme has been the same for a long time. And Will Muschamp is the new guy, right? It's the first year of his defensive scheme, at least at this iteration at Texas. So, yeah, I was thinking, all right, maybe if there is a time where the offense is going to be ahead of the defense a week and a half in, it would be this year with this situation. But at least according to Steve Sarkisian on Saturday, that was not the case.
It'll happen this Saturday. It'll be this Saturday coming up where the offense scores a couple touchdowns. Guys look great. You'll hear about some broken coverages, and then you'll be worried a little bit about the defense. But I wouldn't worry a little bit. They'll be all set up the way it's supposed to be set up for the offense to have some success in scrimmage number 2. And I'd love to hear that because I don't want to hear about how the defense dominated in scrimmage 2 and the offense is struggling in the scoring zone and guys are throwing interceptions and fumbles and things like that. So it's just basic. It didn't sound like there was a big alarm going off because Sarks have been around the game long enough to know what happens in scrimmage number 1 anyway.
Yeah, now there were a couple of positive moments. Again, I mentioned Arch threw 2 interceptions. He also had a couple of touchdown passes, a lot of connections to Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo. Some of the younger players stepped up and made some things happen as well. You heard Sark allude to the running game. Texas was able to get some things going on the ground, which is obviously something we need to see much more of in 2026. So
Sure.
Yeah, from Steve Sarkisian and from the insider reports that I read over the weekend and the folks that I talked to over the weekend, it doesn't seem like it was super lopsided, but take that for what it's worth. This offense clearly has some more work to do. Here's another bit of sound from Steve Sarkisian. This was his opening statement, so kind of just more general thoughts on what he saw from his team over the weekend.
I wanted to be able to get to you guys after scrimmages because I know it's a long time till I see you again, kind of into next week. So, a couple things from today that were that you always have to manage and deal with in training camp with any team. We kind of got a little bit of flu bug hit our team here heading into the scrimmage this weekend. So we had some guys out, that weren't able to go. Rasheem Biles, Brad Spence, Justice Terry, Anthony Smith, Dalen McCutcheon, John Meredith. Those guys were down heading into the scrimmage. And then naturally when you scrimmage, you're going to have some guys, kind of get bumps and bruises as we go. But I did think there were some real highlight plays of that. Jonah Williams had a nice interception in the end zone on the first drive. Grayson Littleton had a really nice 75-yard interception return in the red area later in practice. I thought a couple of the quarterbacks all threw touchdown passes, made big plays. Wingo had a long touchdown, Cam had a long touchdown. Nice touchdown to Raleek Brown from KJ, and Diabell hit Colin Brown on a touchdown. So some give and take there. Thought the running game was pretty good offensively. And saw some from the young guys that showed some things there. I thought from a special team standpoint, I thought we punted the ball very well today. And I think Gio was 4 or 5 on field goals, or maybe even 5 or 6 with a long of 49. Missed his first one. I'm not sure. We got to look at the snap hold operation, but I thought that was good. Again, it was warm out today. We put our guys in some taxing situations. Naturally, we got to fight through, and we got to learn how to fight through. We had a halftime. We came back out in the heat. And I thought we managed it well. But again, I think this is why our depth is so important. Days like today, you get a flu bug hit your locker room. It's hot. Guys start falling out a little bit. Other guys got to step up, and they need to be ready to play. And so hopefully this served as a great example of that.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta push through. I mean, that's why depth is important for your team, and especially for this team. I'd love to hear a little bit about how the offensive line played. If he want, I mean, he talked about guys making plays. Tell me if the left guard made some plays. Those are the things that people are going to want to know. We heard that Raleek Brown had a nice long touchdown. I don't know if that was a catch. Was that a screen catch or run for him?
No, it was a receiving touchdown for KJ Lacey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's going to be quite the receiver. I got a feeling. If you don't pay attention to him, that guy's going to slide out of the backfield, and there's going to be some problems with him. But yeah, he's not in a panic. He's not in panic mode. He's in understanding mode of what happens. Now, I know he didn't like a 70-yard in the scoring zone return back to the house. I'm pretty sure he didn't like that from his starting quarterback. So,
Yeah.
you like it for the defenders, but as I said, week number 2 will be different. Scrimmage number 2 will be different. There'll be some guys that really have to step up, and there'll be some guys that have still have lingering flu problems, BK, that are going to have to just go practice. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
guess.
You're going to lose. You're going to lose a little bit of weight, but we're going to stack it right back on you. We're going to put that weight on you. We're going to be monitoring your weight and everything else. But we need you at practice going into week number 2. A lot of things, a lot of install stuff coming in after that first scrimmage.
For sure. Got to get these guys healthy and back on.
And once again, you're not playing against your defense in games. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's the closest thing because they're good players on that defense.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of the guys who missed were on defense, right? I mean, Raheem Biles, the number 1 linebacker. You heard it. Steve Sarkisian mentioned Justice Terry, who's been one of the breakout stars of camp so far on the defensive line. Anthony Smith, Brad Spence. These are other guys who were expected to play a lot for this Texas team.
Yeah, what the hell would have happened if they would have been around?
I was going to say, there were a couple of offensive guys who didn't play. It wasn't all of the defense that was battling the flu, but a lot of the bigger name players who were unable to give it a go this weekend. If we're on the defensive side of the ball, then you still hear that the defense got the better of the offense. So, that's, I don't know, something to think about. But again, you want good days for both sides, right? You don't want the defense dominating every single day, but you also don't want the offense dominating every single day. So the hope is, okay, guys go back and watch some film. They coach some things up. And the offense takes a step and they start winning some more days in practice. And like you said, maybe they win next Saturday's scrimmage number 2.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. But look, I like hearing good things about this defense too, especially with a new defensive coordinator and a lot of key pieces from last year's squad no longer with the team. So I'll take some positives from them as well. No complaints here.
No, there's no complaints. I was expecting it. I wasn't expecting it to be a total mauling. And it doesn't sound like they mauled them. Hell, now that I see some of those defensive guys that weren't there, now I can see why they didn't totally maul them. So Biles not playing was a big deal.
Yeah. And some of the starters too played some. Even the guys without the flu, they didn't play a ton. You were rotating a lot of depth guys. You were seeing what you have with your 2s and 3s and some of your freshmen as well. So, it wasn't a full game-like situation. But,
This Saturday, this one coming up will be, as you get ready, will be a tough physical, get after it. There are no bars, they're going to get after it this week.
Yeah, no doubt. So we'll talk more about that. Tyler Horka from Inside Texas is going to join us in a few minutes. We'll get his thoughts and takeaways from everything that happened at fall scrimmage number 1. What month is it? What year is it? What's happening right now?
Yeah, this ain't spring, brother.
It ain't spring. It definitely ain't spring. Thank God it's not, by the way, because I don't know if I could deal with another full off season. These next 19 days are going to take long enough. I'm not trying to make it any longer for anybody. But before we dive back into Texas football, we'll have more sound from Steve Sarkisian as well. We'll try to crank up the volume. Apparently, Sark is a little quiet today, so I'll work on that. But before we go any further into the Texas football conversation, how about our first round of sponsor shout-outs?
Folks, for years I've been trying to get the right support for my back, and nothing gave me the comfort my back needed. And then I discovered Relax the Back. Live pain-free, so Relax the Back embraces a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle. And once again, my back couldn't be happier. Their motto is live wellness. And right now, there's also an opportunity for you to save on zero-gravity recliners, adjustable mattress sets. How about this? Tempur-Pedic pillows and mattresses are available for you right now. Human scale office chairs, desk, and accessories. And the chair that I've been sitting in over 20 years, folks, love this chair. Just can't part with it. Where it gives me all the comfort and support that my back needs. But they also have accessories there that before you start to even hurt anywhere, if you start to feel that shoulder pain, that neck pain, go and find an accessory over at Relax Back that's going to fit you just right. They got 2 great locations. One is at the Hill Country Gallery across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center across from the Container Store. Live pain-free like the Buck at Relax the Back.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Love our friends at Relax the Back. Love my Relax the Back chair at home as well. Shout out to them. And also a shout out to our friends at Kalshi. Hey.
Yes.
before the season even starts, everyone's making predictions. We're making predictions all the time on this show. Who wins the conference? Who makes the college football playoff? Who's going to be hoisting that trophy at season's end? I know who we all want it to be. On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade your predictions in a live market. Will the Longhorns qualify for the college football playoff this season? Right now, Texas is trading at a 65% probability, meaning a $100 trade will net you $150 if they clinch a playoff spot. Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position at any time, trade the draft pick, trade the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use promo code Bucky to get $10 when you trade $10. Kalshi. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
I know one thing you're missing. I know you got to be missing your TV. You haven't been back to see what they've done to your home. And Tom of the game from Audiovisual Consultations brought in my 85-inch Samsung. I mean, BK, I thought the other one was big. This definition on this TV Samsung is ridiculous. All my Westerns, from what they did years ago when they were taking, black and white shots of some of the Westerns that I watch, I can now see to the background that I can recognize some of the foreground and some of the Westerns. Like I was watching a Western. I said, you know what? That's the background of Bonanza. I'm like, oh my God, I can see like where the Ponderosa is with the pine trees and everything. I said, that is the same scenes from Bonanza. And it was like, come on, Buck. I could never see that before. I could hardly see the background. They just showed you straight up, just the way they did TV back in those days. But with this TV right now, this Samsung, this 85-inch, it's like being at the movie theater. I'm sitting up on the big taco over there, and I couldn't get out of the taco. Sorry about that. Relax the back. I did not use my chair. I sat in the big taco, laid back, watching all my Westerns this weekend, watching my WNBA, watching my, of course, golf on that beautiful TV that Tom McKay and Audiovisual Consultations got to me on Thursday. It's awesome.
I'm trying to dissect that story. So you got a new 85-inch screen, correct?
Yes.
What is this Ponderosa and Bonanza? What are these
words? Some of my old Westerns like Gunsmoke, you'd see right up close and, you see the characters, but in the background, you couldn't see what the background was. Sometimes it'd be like fake mountains and stuff. But sometimes it would be on location where they filmed some of this stuff and you couldn't see that well. With this thing, it's like magnified. I'm like, oh my God, I know that background from watching Bonanza years ago. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's great.
Nobody knows what you're talking about. I'm not even
sure
you know what
the olds understand. The olds understand.
Whatever. Yeah, you're like Colt McCoy. You could see the individual leaves on trees now.
Yes.
Oh, man. Yep. Shout out to AV Consultations. Look, we love them. We trust them. We've been loving and trusting them for years. They've been hooking up Central Texas since 1988. So less than 3 weeks away from week 1 of the college football season. Make the call today. Get on the schedule. Upgrade your sports watching experience with our great friends at Audiovisual Consultations. 512-255-8678 or avconsultations.com. And a real quick shout out to centextickets.com. Look, if you're watching the sports at home, AV Consultations. If you want to go to the games in person, Centex Tickets. Don't forget the promo code CENTEX10. You type that in at checkout. You are going to get 10% off of any ticket purchase. They've got every Longhorn game. You want to catch a Cowboys or a Texans game this year, they got you. Any sport, any concert, any show, anything, CentexTickets.com is the website. Promo code CENTEX10. All right. I see him in the waiting room. Really excited to talk to this guy. I haven't had the chance to talk to this guy. He's the newest member on the Texas Longhorn beat, taken over at Inside Texas and InsideTexas.com. Guy who's covered college football in a number of markets for years, and I believe he is a native Texan, so he is somebody we can trust. Tyler Horka from Inside Texas joining us on a Monday show. Tyler, thanks for the time, man. It's great to meet you. How are you?
I'm great. I appreciate you guys. I used to listen to Austin Sports Talk Radio delivering tips treats while I was trying to make some spending money at UT. So
nice.
This is a long time coming, and I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Good to have you, man.
No doubt. All right, a little background before we talk Texas football. You've got a 214 area code, not to put too much of your business out there. So from the Metroplex and then went to Texas. How's the Tyler Horka journey to this point? What's the story there?
Yeah, I guess I won't bury the lead. It's actually pretty cool. All of my siblings are named after cities in Texas. So we have Austin, Tyler, Victoria, and Dawson. So we're Texas people through and through. And yeah, grew up, born and raised just north of Dallas, like just south of Denton. So between Denton and Dallas, always knew I wanted to go to UT. It's the only school I applied to, got in, did the thing, and been covering sports, like you say, for the better part of the last decade. 3 years at Mississippi State and the last 5 years at Notre Dame. And it's only been about 17 days since I got back to Austin, August 1st. So hit the ground running, and it's been pretty cool to be thrown right into the fire and cover some Texas football right away.
Did you say you spent how many days at Notre Dame?
5 years.
5 years. Oh, good Lord. Oh my, you can't get that back, You're never going to get those 5 years back,
Well, I stuffed the snow coat in the closet. I don't think I'm going to need it for a while. So that was a pretty good feeling.
Oh,
yeah,
man. Well, Tyler, I guess, I want to get your thoughts on Saturday, but more so, obviously, as you've joined the beat, kind of what you were looking for. I know you've kept up with Texas. You're a Texas grad, so I'm sure you paid attention to, the Steve Sarkisian era and the way things have gone around here the last few years. But what sort of were you paying most attention to, and what have you been paying most attention to since taking over on the beat just a couple of weeks ago?
It's pretty obvious that, you can find differences between where you were at and where you are now. And I actually wrote an article yesterday that kind of highlights just how big these Texas players are, specifically on the defensive line. I think I counted 5 or 6 who are bigger than Notre Dame's biggest defensive linemen. And when we think about Notre Dame, we think trench war, right? Like you're going to win up front. That's more so of an offensive line thing. I think the defensive line has kind of been their downfall. It's the reason they lost to Ohio State in national championship game a couple of years ago. Texas loses to Ohio State for other reasons, right? And we know those are well documented. But from what I see at Texas, I see guys that can win the national championship for you up front on both sides of the ball. Now, the offensive line is obviously a talking point. It's got to gel. It's got to come together. But I don't think it's because you don't have the right guys there. Texas tried to rectify the wrongs, right, by going to the portal and getting a bunch of guys. And maybe it still doesn't work. Sometimes things don't work out in college football. But the way I see it, the offensive, defensive line has the right guys, and the skill position players definitely have the right guys. I think that's another big difference between Texas and Notre Dame. I see the wide receivers, and I'm like, I think you take Texas's top 3 before you get to Notre Dame's number 1. Like Notre Dame's number 1 is somebody who's my size, 5'10", 180 pounds soaking wet, and somehow, he gets open, gets shit. Like it works. Jordan Faison, it works for him if you know anything about him. But Cam Coleman, it works for him too. It works for Ryan Wingo. I was specifically impressed by those 2 guys, just like their physical stature. And then Emmett Mosley is exactly what you want in a slot, the shifty guys. So the receivers are good, and then the running backs as well, the 2 that they got out of the portal. So I think Texas has all the pieces, and you can see that when you walk onto the practice field.
I won't take anything from Faison, but I'd like to have him on my team. He could be my number 3, 4, 2. I mean, he's a fabulous player at Notre Dame. He's been pretty consistent for definitely the last 2 years. He's been something really special. When you look at this Longhorn team, Tyler, on the offensive line, now, I mean, if you've been at Notre Dame for a while, there's not anybody that gets off the bus looking better than a bunch of Notre Dame offensive linemen. Are you seeing that also on that side of the ball too? As you look at Texas, are they getting towards that part of it? I know they're big, but I'm talking about Notre Dame gets off the bus. They're not just big. They're not sloppy. They're just big, and they're big straight on through. It doesn't go like this and then like that. It just goes like this, and they're huge. Are you seeing that with Texas also?
I would give Notre Dame the edge there. Obviously, we're not playing the comparison game, but if you were to do that, I like who Notre Dame has up front. I mean, you look at who they've put in the league. Like Joe Alt is the prime example. That's kind of been what it's been at Notre Dame for a while, right? And Marcus Freeman has continued that to his credit. He understands, like, even though he's a defensive guy, he understands, hey, if we don't have those guys, we're not going to win football games. So it does look a little bit different at Notre Dame, but to Steve Sarkisian's credit, like I said, again, these transfer portal guys might not work out. You never know. You go and get them with the hope that it works out, though, with the intent, like a Lawrence Seymour, Dylan Sikorsky, those types of guys. I just have a hard time believing that for 2 years in a row, Texas is going to be a complete liability on the offensive line, and it's going to doom the Longhorns, who are otherwise so uberly talented and capable of winning the national championship. So it's not just the personnel. I love what I'm hearing from Steve Sarkisian, that these guys have bought into a physical mindset this camp.
Mhm.
They realize what happened last year, and they know that it can't happen again. So there's a lot of pressure that goes with that as well, though. Like, if you don't have the guys and then they realize, oh man, it's all on us, that can go poorly again. But I do think the right things are being said, the right things are being done on the practice field. And it also does help to have like a Trevor Gooseby, and it sounds like Melvin Ciani is playing really well. Like, those are the types that if they were on Notre Dame's roster, you would be like, yep, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
Texas does have some of those guys, but they need everything to come together. And I always say the offensive line is the ultimate team game within the team game. Like, it's 5 across the line. If it ain't working, you can tell, and everything else goes to crap.
Yes.
So it's a big emphasis for Texas this year.
No doubt. Tyler Horka of Inside Texas joining us here on Bucky and BK. I'll be sure to give him a follow at TB Horka, and also check out the great work he does over at InsideTexas.com. Tyler, you wrote a piece over the weekend talking about the flu bug, right? Obviously, a number of Texas players unable to participate in Saturday's scrimmage, battling the flu. Would love to get your thoughts on some of the younger guys, some of the depth guys that maybe impressed you the most from Saturday morning at DKR.
Yeah, I think you look at the linebackers, right? Because it was the linebackers at the top of the depth chart who were out. Tyler Atkinson is someone that we hear is coming along really, really well. Looks the part, and when he gets a little bit bigger, he's going to look more so the part. But Kozi Akpala is a guy that I think is flying under the radar. He looks the part right now. Like, you look at him and you're like, there's nothing I would change about him. He's an SEC linebacker. So there's 2 right there. Rocky Cummings is another one of those young linebackers that you thought, okay, all this depth, you bring in Raheem Biles, Ty Anthony Smith is going to take the next step, this, that, and the other. There's no room for a Rocky Cummings, right? But you see him play in this scrimmage, and Texas even tweeted out a clip of him making a tackle for loss earlier in fall camp. So I like the linebackers. I think they're coming along. Obviously, the young wide receivers are coming along, and it sounds like Texas held out some of the big guys. They let them get their touchdowns, right? Cam Coleman, Ryan Wingo had the long touchdowns, but then you got to throw in the Jermaine Bishop, who had a catch, Dalen McCutcheon. I actually think he was one of the guys that had the flu, but like, there are some young talent that you take away the top of the depth chart, and these guys come up, and that's a perfect environment by the way, for them to play in. First scrimmage of fall camp. There's going to be another on Saturday, and it sounds like Steve Sarkisian's going to invest more in the Arch Mannings and Colin Simmons and those types of guys in that one. But when it's, what was it, August 15th or whatever, and you're like, you know what, we're still exactly 3 weeks away. Let's find out what we have in depth, because Texas has a schedule that it won't survive without depth. Some things are going to happen. Like Sark said, maybe the flu bug hits again. Like, August is a weird time for it to hit. It can definitely hit in October and November. What are you going to do then? You're going to play the Atkinsons, the Akpalas, and the Cummings, because they've kind of ascended into a position where they can take on that kind of responsibility.
Bro, Tyler, what do you see from Bishop when he steps on the field? Just his overall, moxie when he steps on the field, his attitude. Does he look like he just belongs?
Yeah, like we said, I come from, old school Big 12 country, and that's what I grew up on. Those little shifty guys, man, like, they could hurt you in a big way. And
oh, yeah.
I think they're overlooked when you have a guy like Ryan Wingo, who, my gosh, he looks physically imposing. So does Cam Coleman. But there is a spot for guys like Jermaine Bishop, and Steve Sarkisian understands that. So, yeah, he absolutely looks the part, because he knows what he can do, and he knows what he's capable of. And he just moves different, man. Like, you mentioned how much you love Jordan Faison, right? And yes. I love him too. I loved covering that kid for 3 years. It doesn't matter how big you are if you're a football player and if you're an athlete. Jordan Faison was a national champion lacrosse player. Like, Jermaine Bishop plays a lot of sports growing up. I think that translates to Texas football. And like, when you invest all of those resources and everything you have athletically into what he's doing here, you can tell that it's going to be really good for him in Texas.
How do you get him on the field? How do you think that he may be a returner at some time? Not a punt returner. They already have the best punt returner in the nation. Can you see him back there on kickoff returns? Is he that type of kid that they're not afraid maybe to put him back immediately?
Yeah, you got to take a look. I always have a little bit of reservation with the true freshman doing that, but all you got to do is, it's like seeing a free throw go through the hoop, right? Like if he returns one and nothing goes poorly and he's like, you know what, if you give me another chance, maybe I take that one to the 50. Maybe I take the next one to the house. There's not a lot of guys on any football team that have that. Like, I don't mean to keep bringing up Notre Dame, but did you see Jadarian Price, who's also a Texas kid from Denison?
Yeah.
He had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns against USC, and those are the biggest reasons why, Notre Dame won both of those games. So if you could find a niche for a guy, and then that'll bring him along as a receiver too. But to the other side of that, Bucky, I think he could play wide receiver right now for Texas as well. So if you're looking for a backup to Emmett Mosley in the slot, give that guy a look because, he could present some problems to defenses.
Right.
Yeah. Tyler Horka, Inside Texas, joining us here on Bucky and BK. Well, Bucky asked you about Jermaine Bishop. I'll ask you about the other freshman on offense stealing headlines, Derek Cooper. And you posted a piece this morning, Tyler, about the Texas run game and how that's been a point of emphasis for Steve Sarkisian, but it sounds like the Longhorns are looking a lot better there right now. I know we're talking about practice and not games, but clearly something Steve Sarkisian wanted to improve in the offseason. I guess overall thoughts on that running back room as a whole, but definitely want to get your opinion on what you've seen and heard about the freshman 5-star Derek Cooper.
Yeah, I think he is another one of those guys that just like gives you something else, right? And we've kind of differentiated Hollywood Smothers and Raleek Brown because I think a lot of people were saying they're the same guy. They do some different things. Raheem Biles actually gave us the good rundown last week of like what makes them different. But Derek Cooper, you could see what's different. Like he's a real 212, probably going to play at 215 in his Texas career. He's not the 5'9" guy, he's more closer to 6 foot. Like he looks the part and he plays the part too. Like when you're a 5-star, you're obviously given that for a reason. That's the athleticism piece, but it's the work ethic piece that's impressing me the most. Every single time you hear Steve Sarkisian talk about him, he's like, yeah, nobody's going to outwork that guy. Our Eric Nahlin at Inside Texas, every single time he has an intel report, he's labeling him as the workhorse. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes his nickname in some fashion or the other because he loves to work. Raheem Biles even said it. Like you could tell that this guy is trying to become a true every down back. And that's important as well because I was actually, for that piece that you mentioned, BK, going through Hollywood Smothers game logs yesterday. And I was hoping that he would have like 5-10 first down carries on third down. He only had 3. So they took him off the field quite a bit. Raleek Brown was actually the guy that had the most. He had 9. Trey Wisner led Texas last year with 6. The reason I bring this up is because Texas ranked 115th nationally in first downs running the ball on third down. Like it was very poor. It sounds like Raleek Brown is going to give them something there. I'm not sure about Hollywood Smothers after looking at the stats, but how about Derek Cooper? How about if you're 3rd and 3 and you want to play smash mouth football, give the ball to your big guy. We've even heard that Michael Terry, the 6'3" running back who really looks different. If Derek Cooper looks different, Michael Terry really looks different. He's been getting some short yardage package situations in fall camp. So again, it's one of those things that I really like to hear from Steve Sarkisian's team because he sees a problem, third down running. And look, it can't be 3rd and 6 and 7 and 8 every time. Texas was facing that way too much. Can't really run the ball in those situations. But when it is 3rd and short, can you pick it up on the ground? It sounds like that's a big point of emphasis. And it sounds like the freshmen and the redshirt freshmen are getting some looks there. So it's all hands on deck. Like you have a problem, you need to fix it. Well, why not use every resource you have to try to fix it?
But you don't feel there's a problem with Raleek Brown carrying the ball at his size. He makes himself kind of skinny when he has to get those yards.
Yeah, he's shifty. He's hard to tackle, right? If you're hard to tackle, you're hard to tackle. Yeah. It's different when everybody's in the box, right? And you got to go right at somebody. But you know the old saying, make somebody miss in a phone booth, right? That's Raleek Brown. So if he knows he needs 2 yards, he's going to try to get it. And Hollywood Smothers is actually the poster child of that. Like 3rd and 3, need 3 yards. Smothers is going to land right on that 3-yard line and give you what you need.
He looks like a fit. He's a fit. I mean, when I first saw a film of him, I thought of him being the more physical guy of the 2 guys. He's a physical kind of downhill runner. It doesn't mean he can't make you miss. It doesn't mean he can't go for long distance. But when you need to get, like you said, right on the mark for a first down, you're not worried. He's going to find a way to get you 2 yards.
And I think that's why you see him running with the ones. And if it's a
Right.
1A, 1B situation, he's the 1A because he's the tone setter.
Sure.
Send him onto the field first and let him run somebody over and make a physical play and kind of set that tone.
I like it. Tyler Horka, Inside Texas, joining us here on Bucky and BK. A couple more for you, Tyler. Jonah Williams, sounds like he was one of the stars from Saturday's scrimmage. An interception of Arch Manning in the end zone, making a couple of tackles in scrimmage. I'm sure I know you've only been here for a couple of weeks, but I'm sure you've heard Jonah Williams' name a lot, and I'm sure you got a good feel of how this fan base kind of feels about the second-year former 5-star safety. But your thoughts on Jonah's performance on Saturday, and is he maybe inching his way closer to being a significant contributor in the Texas safety room this season?
Well, a couple things here. I'm a massive UT baseball guy, so I'm very familiar with Jonah Williams.
There you go.
The second thing is I also love him as a football player. So we did a roundtable at the very beginning of fall camp, and we had to pick our biggest breakout candidates. I said Jonah Williams. I looked pretty stupid there for a week maybe when we weren't hearing much about him in camp. But how about a scrimmage setting? Some guys just like when the ball is marked and you're playing actual football, 11 on 11, go make a play. I think that's Jonah Williams. He made that interception look easy. I think it's pretty clear that Arch Manning didn't see him coming across, but you still have to go make that play if you're Jonah Williams, and he did. He's physical. When I look at the safeties, they're long and but I'm not physically whoa, that guy super scares me until I get to Jonah Williams. I'm like, I don't want that guy tackling me type of thing. So if he's making the picks, but he's also creeping up to the line of scrimmage and making the plays there, that's a true safety. And he can do all the things that you're asking him to do. So I'm high on him. I think we need to hear more about this. If he goes out and does it again in the next scrimmage, I think that's when you're saying, okay, he's got to play football for Texas this year because he's making all the football plays in camp. So he's earning it right now. He's also still so young. That's another thing about Jonah Williams and me knowing about him, as the baseball player and whatnot. Everyone expected it right away for him. And even as a blue chipper, it doesn't always happen like that. So I think he's coming along, and I think he's going to be a really good football player for Texas. Maybe even he invests all of his time into football. I'm not sure what that looks like for him right now. Would love to see him hit some home runs and steal some bases on the diamond as well. But in terms of where he needs to be with his head right now, it needs to be off football, man. His football season, and Jonah Williams is a good football player. You just have to tap into that potential.
Let me ask you this, Tyler. When you philosophically Sark and what you see of him, now that you've been around him a little bit, what is it going to take for this head coach in year number 6 to get this team going early in games? Not, series number 4, here we go, series number 5, filling out process. What is it going to take? This team starts out slow. It's not like they come down the field, let's march down the field, touchdown, let's march again, touchdown. They seem to kind of feel out teams, like a boxing match. What is it going to take for this guy to, with the dynamic offense that he should have and some of these threats that we talk about, he's got to get this team going early in games. There's some really big games here, with playing, 9 on your schedule in the SEC. There's no time to wait. Series number 4, series number 3, fading away in week number 7, getting it together in week number 7. I mean, this thing has to get going, and it has to get going in week 1 to me.
Yeah, I know football games are 60 minutes, right? But they're not boxing matches. So if you're playing from behind in these things, or not even from behind, but if you don't, it's like you're saying, establish yourself, and you've got to feel good about yourself from the start. So it's also a little ironic because Steve Sarkisian's such a great offensive mind, right? You would think the script goes to plan and Texas gets on the board 7-0. Again, see one go through the hoop and you're feeling good about yourself. It hasn't always been that. Maybe this physicality piece is what changes it, right? Because it feels like Texas was easing into football games, and they were waiting to get punched in the mouth, and then it's okay, now we go. Why not be the guy to go punch somebody else in the mouth? Do it from the start, be that team. I think you see that with Sark this offseason. He understands how vital this is. Ohio State is sitting there again. Thank God you get them in week 2, I think. Of course, Ohio State gets to have their tune-up game as well. But I think the tune-up game works in Texas's favor because both games are at home. You get to see what you have against Texas State, maybe what you don't have, make some tweaks, fine-tune. all while not hopping on an airplane and having to go to Columbus and do that
Right.
whole song and dance again. So I do think that helps. But to your point, this is more about it's about more than just the Ohio State game. Like, I get it, Texas State doesn't move the needle for some people, but you might want to play good football in that thing, because that'll translate to week 2, and you have some things to build off of and whatnot. So I'm right there with you, Bucky. Like, it needs to be some hard-nosed Texas football from the very beginning. Otherwise, you're in danger of, oh no, here we go again. And that's not where you want to be.
Yeah, we just don't want to see that in week 5. We're still not getting going early in games. We're kind of playing through them depending on what quarter it is. If the run game's going, it just needs to go. Like, as soon as you come out of the locker room, it's time to play.
I agree.
Yeah, something that's got to change for sure. Well, Tyler, really appreciate your time, man. It's great to meet you. Welcome to the Texas Beat. Before we let you go, we want to give you the chance to promote yourself. How can people find you and the great work that you're doing over at Inside Texas?
Well, first of all, I'll direct you guys there, InsideTexas.com. We are still running a deal where you get 75% off your first year as a new subscriber. So that first year is only going to run you $29.99. It's unbeatable deal with all the intel, exclusive pieces that we get, recruiting updates from Justin Wells, does a really good job. And then if you want to find some of that work promoted by myself on social media, follow me at TB Horka. And there's a lot going on Twitter right now. It's talking season. We need football season, because anything that I tweet about Arch Manning, guys, the fans of the other teams will find it, and they're having a heyday. So definitely go back me on there if you're a Texas fan, and speak for yourselves. I'll let y'all do the talking on there.
That's great. Well, Tyler, thanks so much for the time. Hopefully we get the chance to do this again, and welcome again, and congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you, Tyler.
So much. Yeah, looking forward to the next time.
Yes, sir. There he goes. Tyler Horka, again, Inside Texas, InsideTexas.com. Follow him on Twitter at TB Horka, the beat writer for IT, covering all things Texas football, Buck.
5 years Notre Dame beat. Oh, my goodness, that must have hurt.
Yeah. Not a lot to do in South Bend, Indiana, is there?
Ooh-wee.
Cold up there, too.
Yeah, it's cold up there. We don't like the cold. We like what we got right now.
Oh, yeah, and it'd be one thing if Tyler was from the Midwest, but he's a DFW kid who went to the University of Texas. So you talk about culture shock. Now, he sounds like he started his career in Starkville covering Mississippi State, which I can't imagine there's a ton to do there, but at least you're in the South. You get the warm weather. It's not maybe as much of a culture shock, perhaps. But, yeah, going up to South Bend and spending 5 years covering the Golden Domers, that took his toll. I see why he wanted to get out of there and why he took this job as soon as he could.
Yeah, he's got a nice perspective on the players. Some of these guys too. I like hearing about freshmen getting an opportunity, and he doesn't sound like it's opportunities. He sounds like they're there. He talked about Michael. He even said Michael Terry, which I almost went, uh-oh.
Yeah,
and I'm still waiting. But that's a big buy. I mean, once again, it's his second year. He's learning how to play a position, and maybe that that switch just turns on. Who knows? You get hit a couple times in the mouth, that switch will turn on for you. If you're a big, tall guy and you're running upright and doing some things, you'll learn in a hurry that if that's the position you're going to play, you'll get good at it if you're a good athlete.
Oh, it's interesting, right? Michael Terry III has generated some buzz over the last few practices, and the Texas social media team posted a couple of highlights of Michael Terry last week. So, yeah, he's big. I mean, he's 6'3", 230, not your stereotypical running back size, but
that's a big dude to tackle. Once he knows how to carry that weight and carry his size, and in the velocity that he can hit you with, 230, man.
I know, and it's all new for him. Now, he ran the ball some in high school, but he wasn't a traditional running back at Alamo Heights.
No, he was a dancer because he could dance around, still run around those little kids, stiff arm them down to the ground.
100%. And he didn't really start playing running back full-time at Texas until, midway through his freshman season when Jarrett Gibson parted ways with the team. And yeah, just one carry for Michael Terry III. It was in the bowl game against Michigan, and I remember you talking about it, Buck. Like, it was not a good-looking carry at all.
No, he was nervous and just not used to his body being that. Those guys on the defense love big bodies that aren't moving real fast. You can hit those. You may bounce off of them every once in a while, but at least you can put your shoulder pads into a big body like that. But when that big body starts throwing it back at you at 230, look out.
Yeah, he looked like a tight end playing running back.
Yeah, he did. Exactly.
Like size-wise, but also style-wise. He just did not look
Yes.
comfortable at all. So, hey, first full off season getting to work on that position. And one of the other storylines, and we could dive back into this a little more in hour number 2, but a lot of pony packages for Texas. 2 running backs on the field at the same time, whether it was 20 or 21 or 22 personnel. That was something that Steve Sarkisian apparently was implementing a lot in Saturday's scrimmage. And when you've got Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers and Derek Cooper and Ryan Niblett and now maybe Michael Terry III, you want to maybe give those guys as many options as you can. And that would really stress a defense if you have both of those guys, or 2 of those guys, I should say, on the field at the same time. So perhaps
I'm going to freak out when I see 2 of them at the same time early in a ball game. That's going to make me feel great.
Yeah, me too. I feel the same way. And plus Arch Manning with his dual threat ability,
Right.
right? Like that's 3 guys. Let's say you have running backs flanking Arch on each side. That's 3 guys who you have to worry about holding on to the football and taking off and running. So yeah, that could create some stress on opposing defenses. I'm with you, man. I hope we see that a lot, and I hope it's not just like a random gadget thing from time to time. I hope it's a pretty consistent staple of the offense this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear we all think that Arch has full control of this offense, and we're led to believe that. I can't wait till Sark starts talking about some of the things that has changed with him from last year to this year already that he can see. Because if there's anybody that knows about a QB, it should be the head coach, and he's the one throwing in the plays. He's the one that's talking to him all the time. I'd like to know what the changes are in this young guy.
Oh, for sure. Well, we'll get to more Steve Sarkisian sound. You asked about the offensive line earlier. Sark was also asked about the offensive line on Saturday, so we'll get Sark's comments there, and also Steve Sarkisian talking about Arch Manning's performance and what was described as a pretty up-and-down day for him on Saturday, but we'll let you hear from the head coach in a few moments. But before we dive back into the Texas Longhorn conversation, Buck, how about another round of sponsor shout-outs?
Say hello to our friends over at Woods Comfort Systems. They've been around Central Texas for 71 years repairing air conditioning, heating, and now they're doing plumbing. If you got reoccurring drain clogs, it's a sign of bigger problems. Let Woods Comfort Systems help you get to the source. Proudly serving San Marcos, Kyle, and Wimberley. And folks, their experienced team can come by and get get those clogs all cleaned up, find out, they'll identify the problem, and get it done for you. How about $70 for cleaning and then free camera inspection? Call Woods Comfort Systems today at 737-251-6199. At 737-251-6199. Nobody does it better than Woods Comfort Systems.
No, they do not. Much love to our great friends at Woods Comfort Systems. And nobody sells Mazdas better than Roger Beasley Mazda South.
Yes.
That's the real deal. The number one.
You don't have it with you now. You don't got your Mazda with you now, do you?
No, I'm devastated. They didn't let me bring the CX-5 on board the cruise ship that I'm on to make the cut. Also, it'd be a pretty long drive to Alaska to even get to the boat.
Wow.
So I don't know if the folks at Roger Beasley wanted me putting that many miles on a loaner car, but man, the CX-5, it's beautiful. It's a great looking car, super luxurious, and of course it's a Mazda, so you've got the legendary reliability and the great safety features. All-wheel drive is standard on all of the Mazda SUVs. If you're in the market for a newer pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, go see our friends at Roger Beasley Mazda. Of course, they've got a great pre-owned selection as well. 30 consecutive Mazda President's Club awards, the #1 Mazda dealer in the state of Texas. That's our friends at Roger Beasley Mazda South. Hey, dynasties aren't earned overnight. You've got to put in the work year after year after year, and that's exactly what Roger Beasley Mazda does. 55 years serving Central Texas. Again, 30 straight President's Club awards for Roger Beasley Mazda South, the #1 Mazda dealer in the state of Texas. Visit them today, just off of I-35 south of Highway 71, to experience what a championship dealership feels like. Roger Beasley Mazda South. Go check them out, Buck.
And of course, our good friends over at Hat Creek Burger Company with 30 locations throughout the state of Texas, where if you are hungry for a burger today, starting off your Monday, head on over to Hat Creek Burger, find out about, get a double with a strawberry shake today.
Ooh.
A little whipped cream and a cherry on top. Grab a hold of those fries. Grab a large fry today. Let's start out Monday the right way. Tomorrow is my golf day, and I will be at Hat Creek Burger Company tomorrow. A lot of fun. They've got the playscape for the kids. kiddos are back in school now, but over the weekend, BK, it was packed there. It was like, wait a minute, aren't you kids? You're back in school. You got playscapes at school, don't you? No. When they get to their burger place, they want a playscape, and Hat Creek Burger has it. Just like mom and dad want to have that margarita a little later on in the afternoon too at Hat Creek Burger. But folks, at Hat Creek Burger Company, there's something for everyone.
Yeah, I love Hat Creek. Also,
by the way, chicken sandwich is fabulous too. Chicken sandwich, delicious.
Yes, indeed. Don't sleep on the chicken at Hat Creek.
No.
Don't sleep on the nuggies at Hat Creek.
No, I love the nuggies too.
Very, very solid. Good way to wash down your Hat Creek is with some Altstadt beer.
Yes.
Take a can of Altstadt beer and don't do that. 2-1-1. All right. Love the Altstadt beer. My choice of beer should be yours as well. Football season right in the corner. You got tailgates, you got watch parties every weekend, enjoying football from your living room. You got to have a good beer by your side to accompany your football watching. My choice is Altstadt. Should be yours as well. Brewed locally in Fredericksburg. Easy to find, available wherever you shop for beer. And they've got a bunch of different brews as well. Something for every beer drinker out there. Their seasonal Oktoberfest starting to pop back up in stores. Fantastic beer. They've got the lager. They've got the Kolsch, the Pils, the Hefeweizen, the light as well. The Hefeweizen. I don't know. I just made up a word. I'm not sure what I'm saying anymore. I need some Altstadt. Love the Altstadt beer. My choice should be yours as well. It's Altstadt beer. No impurities, no regrets.
Now tell me about the trip now. We got a little quick one here. How's the trip going? You know, you were just in a city where I married my lovely wife, Joyce. Juneau, Alaska, the capital of Alaska, Juneau. I got married at the chapel on the lake overlooking a glacier. It was awesome. When I was doing radio with Bob Cole. By the way, Bob Cole is in Alaska. Have you not run into Bob?
Oh no.
He's in the state of Alaska on another cruise with his lovely wife, Linda.
Wow. I have not run into Bob Cole yet, but I did walk by a bathroom and smell one of the worst smells I've ever smelled. So maybe
was it the cologne or was
maybe he was in there. I think it's a combination with Bob Cole. You know, you get the cologne smell, way too much cool water, and then you get the traditional bathroom smell as well with that guy.
Have you gone down the wrong corridor yet on the ship where you almost keep trying to open up the wrong door? Or you got the lay of the land pretty quick?
I don't know. It's not it's not one of the biggest ships out there. There's like 1,000 people on this boat. Some of these cruises have like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people on board.
Yeah.
They're just monster ships. This one, not nearly that big, which is kind of nice. Like I'm not waiting in line for anything. Like I could get what I want when I want.
You don't, have you run into the Big family yet? The Bigs are around?
Oh, the Bigs are around. Oh, for sure. The Bigs are around. I mean, I'm eating 2 to 3 meals a day, pretty standard, but every time I go in to the buffet, there's the same people there all the time. I don't think they leave. They got to get kicked out.
They can eat. They can throw up at the table because of the ocean, and then they start eating right away. They just wipe it down, and then they go back in line and start eating again. I love the Bigs. I mean, everybody's big. The little kid, the baby's big with big old head. You know, the daughter's 6'6". You know, she's 217. I mean, the Bigs are something. They're at every buffet line. Anything that costs you absolutely nothing that you get on the cruise, they're there. You know, when you have the special on cod, they're there and they're first. I don't know how to get there first. They never go back to their rooms.
Yeah, usually this is a compliment to people. I don't know if it is in this case. The Bigs at the buffet are first man in and last man out.
Yes.
And first woman in and first woman out. Oh, my goodness.
I love the Bigs on board. Oh, man, that's great. Cruising is fantastic. And some of the most scenic stuff that you'll ever see in the world is just, I mean, I took pictures of the glaciers on board the ship. I couldn't help myself. I was like staring, sitting out there, out on the veranda there, just staring out. It just amazes me. So I've been on 4 of those damn things.
You've been on 4 Alaskan cruises?
I thought I would never, after the first one, I was like, okay, that's enough. But the scenery just gets to me. Like when you go into those Sitka and Ketchikan and Juneau, It's just I've never been to. You're going inland. You're going to Anchorage. I've never been there before. I'd like to go there someday.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, been to Ketchikan, been to Juneau so far. The scenery is second to nothing that I've ever seen in my life. And
You're not far from the Russians there. You're not far away from the Russians. That's what I always feel weird. The Russians are around there. They're spying on you, brother.
Oh God, I'm not hard to find. Like I put my whole life on the internet every single day, so I don't think they want to come after me. If they did, they would have done so already. But no, it's been fun, man. It's beautiful. It's very fortunate to be on this trip, and I think the worst part of this trip is there's some Purdue like reunion going on. There's like 85 Boilermakers on this ship. And I thought I was over the Sweet 16 loss in the NCAA tournament. Being such an a-hole to these people, they have no idea why. The Purdue fans. I'm talking to everybody else. I'm being nice. And as soon as I see somebody in the Purdue crowd, I'm just not talking to them at all. Still bitter about March.
Good,
Yeah.
Good, man. Well, enjoy yourself and don't get off the trails because look out for the bears there.
Yeah,
they can get a little. You're not doing any little hiking on your own, are you?
No. Haven't seen any bears yet. Haven't seen any whales outside of the buffet. There's a few that are in there.
oh boy, Jay's gonna love that.
I'm sure he will. But yeah, man, there's ping pong tournaments. The cruises are cool. There's a lot going on with these things. It's fun. It's fun.
Hey, just keep telling them you'll never have the flu.
I'll never have the flu. You're right. I need to say it because I'm on a petri dish, a floating petri dish
Absolutely,
in the Pacific Ocean right now. And I do have to brag about the weather. Sorry to all of you people back at home. About 55 degrees where I am right now. Yeah.
That is way too cold, man.
It's chilly, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
it's chilly. But I'll take 50s and 60s over 100s. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that one, but I will take this.
And you're not one of those wanderers because I'd be the guy. I wander at night, wander around the ship outside, looking over the rails and stuff. That's spooky out there. I always say, when you do all the traveling, it's at nighttime. When you're sleeping, which is nice. You're generally at places when the sun comes up, you're getting ready to dock at some place. But I'd be cruising out there at night, just walking around.
Yeah, I've been doing some of that too. And
it's beautiful.
Nice. I mean, I'm wearing backpack jackets. I'm wearing beanies and jackets and pants, and it's pretty surreal. It's quite the change.
You got your St. Patrick, Texas gear too. Are they excited there when they see that?
Oh yeah, rocking the St. Patrick hat. Met a couple of Longhorn fans yesterday. A couple of Austinites on this trip. Besides,
awesome.
So we travel well. And just got to throw the Purdue people overboard. I'm tired of seeing them, but everything else has been gravy. So there you go. We'll have some updates when I get back. I've been jotting down some notes and some observations from what's going on this ship. But so far so good. All right. Thanks for asking, my man. Thank you for asking. Diving back into the Texas Longhorn football conversation here. Buck, you asked about the offensive line earlier in the show. And we got an update from Steve Sarkisian, who was asked about the offensive line after Saturday's first scrimmage of fall camp. Here was the head coach talking about the Big Uglies.
Yeah, I was really encouraged with the first offensive line unit in that, we've been harping on physicality and we've been harping on running the ball all off season. And I thought they did that today. I thought they played a physical brand of football. I thought they protected the quarterback well. I thought they showed good continuity with one another, which is always something, how do they work with one another? Now, granted, in the second half, we made some changes and Gooseby, we pulled him out, we pulled Melvin out, and we get a couple penalties with those twos that were in there. And so, how do we bring our twos along as well? Those linemen that are maybe 7, 8, 9 kind of in the rotation, so that if their number's called, they can function and operate at a high level if their number's called as well.
Yeah, those guys, they got to get at a high level in a hurry because they're going to get called on quickly because of the temperatures in the first couple of weeks of the season, plus the schedule that you're playing. Those guys who are number one, whether they be guard or tackle, are going to need a break. and you can't have a drop off that's totally ridiculous. And you can't have penalties. You can't have a bunch of penalties that set your offense back, and you can't have your quarterback getting smucked in the back of the head because you decided to give your left tackle a break. Those guys have to be at a real high level and in a hurry here too.
Arch Manning got smucked in the back of the head too often last year, huh?
Yeah, well, he was getting smucked in the face, in the back of the head, in the chest, everywhere you can name it. So, I mean, the second team guys have to play like first teamers because they're going to get a lot of reps here early in this football season. And hell, like I said, with the schedule, they're going to get a lot of reps anyway. You know, where you're hoping your left tackle can stay in there for 4 quarters. That would be great. And he's got the ability to do it because he's all everything. But you know you're going to have some replacements in that guard area that the guys are going to need a break.
Texas
they got to be up to the task, man.
Oh, for sure. And Texas has had some pretty fortunate injury luck on the offensive line the last couple of
years.
Yes,
they have.
They haven't been fully healthy, but most of their key guys have been able to play. That wasn't the issue last year. I wish we had that excuse for the offensive line play in 2025, but it was the guys were healthy. They just weren't good enough. I will say this. I liked hearing Steve Sarkisian say the first team offensive line wasn't committing penalties. Obviously, I don't love hearing that the second and third teamers were, but the starters, that's the most important part because it was the starters last year committing all the penalties. So if Brandon Baker's cleaned it up a little bit and, Connor Robertson and Melvin Ciani and Trevor Gooseby and Lawrence Seymour, if those guys are playing mistake-free football, that's going to help this offensive line so much. Again, you're right. Arch Manning got smacked too much. They were olaying too many guys. Penalties weren't the only problem with the offensive line a season ago, but it was a huge problem. Texas was putting itself behind the chains way too often. So even that, Buck, like we're looking for some sort of positive news with that offensive line unit because I think it's your biggest question. It's my biggest question, and I think most Longhorn fans would agree. Any sort of positive news I think is very – and hearing that at least the first teamers played a very clean game in quotes with the scrimmage, that I think is a very positive sign.
No doubt about it, man.
And also another takeaway, Steve Sarkisian didn't mention this specifically in that cut, but Lawrence Seymour was working with the first team offensive line at left guard. Remember the transfer from Western Kentucky, missed the spring, didn't get here till the summertime. Steve Sarkisian told us early that we're not just going to hand this guy the job. He's going to have to earn it. And it sounds like Lawrence Seymour has done just that. Now,
yeah, we're going to hand it to him. All right. Yeah, it's yours. If you're good enough, you can play it because
for sure.
That's why we went out and paid to get that guy.
100%. And he was working with the threes at the start of camp, and we're not even 2 weeks into training camp, and he's already with that first team offensive line. So it sounds like, not saying he's a finished product, had some rough moments in the scrimmage on Saturday, but also was pretty good on Saturday as well. I don't know if this battle is over at left guard, but that's what I was hoping, and I think that's what the coaching staff was hoping when they went out and got this guy, was that he was going to separate himself as the Longhorns' best option at left guard. And it sounds like, again, he is trending in that direction to this point at camp.
Yeah, that dude separated himself the day he came on campus and was able to go to school and enroll here. That they needed him to be that guy, and he looks like he's going to be able to play that part. But they're going to need another one right behind him for sure. So the guys that have been wanting to have that position that may not start at that position, they are going to have to be really, really good because we know that's where the problem occurred last year. So you can't have that problem go 2 years in a row at that position. Even if the number one guy is not totally ready, the number two guy better be very close to being the number one guy,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the hope, right? It's not just that you have a good starting five. It's that you got some depth like you're talking about. And obviously getting Cole Hudson back will help with that. It's a very experienced player who I'm sure is getting opportunities to compete for that starting left guard job. But I think best case scenario, Lawrence Seymour is the guy that Texas thought they were getting. And then you've got a guy with 40-plus career appearances and 20-plus career starts as your sort of interior offensive line backup, your sixth man, if you will. But, I don't know. I like hearing Lawrence Seymour updates. I like that he continues to get better. Obviously still learning the offense, building up some chemistry with the guys next to him. That's incredibly important, making sure all five of those guys are on the same page because it's a new-look offensive line. And it's, not really a bad thing because the O-line was so bad last year. Some years you have to lose some guys and you shift things up. You get a little nervous. I think change was needed up front for Texas. But the reality is you've got two transfers. in your projected starting five, and you've got two guys learning new positions in your projected starting five. And then Connor Robertson, who's your starting center, who's not a transfer, who's not learning a new position. He only started a few games last year. He's been here a long time, but hasn't started a ton of games in his Texas career. So there's some shifting going on, a little musical chairs going on to where, yeah, like we need to hear more good about the offensive line. And Sark saying they were physical, Sark saying they had some success running the football, and Sark saying that they weren't committing a lot of penalties, all obviously bright spots from over the weekend.
No doubt, no doubt. And it doesn't sound like they were getting a lot of pressure and getting the quarterback, killed in practice. It sounds like they held their own when it comes to that. But once again, the defense had their day. I was expecting the defense in scrimmage number one to have their day. Always do. Always offensive staff gets back and they meet after they watch the film together, and they're in a total panic, dude. They're like, oh my God. Now the head coach is not in a panic because he understands that you're playing against a different defense, different kind of schemes. You're not going to be playing against those schemes. But he wants to see what the physicality is like. And it's good to hear that he felt like they were physical in the run game.
Yeah. Absolutely. Good runs for all three of the top guys. And I think
good job.
Got some carries, but positive news from the run game. Again, that is also very, very welcome. How about the quarterback? You asked about Arch Manning earlier.
Yes.
Steve Sarkisian was asked about Arch Manning and how he fared. A couple of touchdowns, a couple of interceptions, one in the end zone, the other just outside the red area for Arch. Obviously not ideal, but here was the head coach talking about his starting quarterback's day.
Yeah. I felt for Arch and Ryan and Cam and Emmett because they played the first series, then they sat because I didn't want them to be live, and then they played one series in the red zone, and then they sat, and then they didn't come back and play until the second half. So it was a little up and down today. I don't think that's really indicative of him not being out in the spring. I thought he's had a great first week and a half of training camp, been extremely impressed. Probably wasn't as fair to him today. I wanted them to almost feel like a preseason NFL game, preseason one game. But at the same token, when we went to thud tempo and it wasn't live, I wanted to try to get him reps, and those reps didn't come until the second half. So I think he can play cleaner than he played today and a little bit more efficient, a little bit more accurate. But there was also some high-level plays that were made too. Again, it's the level of consistency that we're fighting for, and I've seen it right the first week and a half. And again, I think probably blame Coach Sark for not being quite as fair to him, where I was one series and then sit for 30 minutes and then one series and then sit again. So next week will be a little bit different format.
Yeah, he'll get more reps. Like I said, they'll get more reps in scrimmage number 2 in the second week. That's hard to go in a series and then go sit down for a half hour, and watch, and then you have to run back out there as if you just got through playing. That's not the way it goes when you're in games. But he'll get more series like back to back to back, and then go sit down for a half hour. Not just one series and then go sit down and then come back in 45 minutes later. That's not good. That's not good for the quarterback. That's no tempo. That's no rhythm for him. He wants to get in a rhythm of even when he's just handing the ball off, not just throwing the ball down the field and taking his drops, but just handing the ball off in that kind of situation. So things will change. I don't expect for him to not get a bunch of series. This isn't, he calls it like preseason, like the NFL. No, that dude needs to be in there playing as much as he can with the new guys that are in there. And that'll change as time gets closer and closer.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? And look, it doesn't sound like it was the best day of work that Arch Manning has ever had. But
right, but he's seen him all week. He's watched him work. So
right, yeah, it was a weird format, and that's not typically how it works when you're playing quarterback in a real game, like you said. And we've all seen enough good from Arch Manning to know what he's capable of being, and it sounds like he's had a very good start to fall camp. So not the best day for him, but I don't think any Longhorn fans pressing the panic button. At least I don't think any Texas fan should be pressing the panic button right now.
Yeah, as I said, the defense gets a chance to confuse you because they're playing a different type of defense than you maybe have seen. And all of a sudden, guys are crossing over, making defensive plays. And that's once you start getting used to it, like I said, once you start having your defense start doing some of the things that Ohio State does, now you can get into a rhythm and understand what's about to happen in the next couple of weeks. So it is, it'll change, and he'll be doing more, series. I'm going in again. I'm going in again. I'm going in again. I'm not going to go sit down 3 series and let the number 2 guy go in and I sit from the sideline. I got to get my snaps in. And I mean, the head coach knows all about that. Yeah, you'd love for him to play carefree, mistake-free first scrimmage. That's hard to do.
Yeah, I feel like that's impossible to do.
Yeah, well, against, and like I said, you're seeing a different defense. You're watching a defensive coordinator that's got a bunch of killer dogs just ready to go loose on your offensive line that has struggled before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he knows where all the defensive coordinator knows where the weak links are. They know that your offensive line has struggled for the last year. So they're going to get after certain guys and put the pressure on them. And that's good that defense puts the pressure on this offensive line. That's a good thing for the offensive line because it's not a game situation. So let's get it all out. Get it all out now.
Iron sharpens iron. And I think Texas has one of the best defensive lines in the country. So, look, Ohio State's got a good one. Oklahoma's got a good one. A&M's got a good one. It's not like they're going up against a bunch of scrubs this season, but they're obviously going to get battle-tested in practice going up against guys like Colin Simmons and Hero Kanu and Justice Terry.
Oh, yeah.
That's only going to make that group better. And, there shouldn't be anything that they haven't seen in practice when we get to actual games starting in a few weeks. But, that was a takeaway for sure. So overarching themes, again, not Arch Manning's best day. The offensive line committing fewer penalties, at least the first unit on the offensive line. The pony package being utilized more 2-back sets, at least that Texas was trying to implement there. Jonah Williams having a really, really big day on defense. And, a lot of good, but also a lot of things to clean up and work on between now and Week 1 against Texas State in 19 days.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you got your practices. That's why you have to start honing in on things. They still got another week of hard practice before they really start getting into what they need to do against Texas State. There is a game before Ohio State. And like I said, I'd like to see them get off to a fast start against lowly the Bobcats. I don't care who they play. You want to look sharp. You don't want to have a bunch of penalties. You want to come out fast. If you win by 30, that's fine. You win by 40, that's fine too. You win by 50, who cares? Because nobody's going to care after week 1 because of what you got in week 2. They're not going to care. We'll talk about how good you looked in the first game, but what you really care about is what you do in that second week.
Yeah, of course. I'd prefer them to win by 40 or 50 in week 1 if I can
sign
somewhere for that. But Texas should take care of business against Texas State. I think we all expect for that to happen. Obviously, the week 2 game 7 days later against Ohio State is the one that everyone's going to be paying attention to.
Absolutely.
And that's a big barometer, big litmus test for how good this 2026 Texas football team is. Obviously, it's a big game for Ohio State as well. But, the Longhorns, everything they do, and once they start implementing the game plan a little more versus just install stuff, it's going to be dedicated a lot to Ohio State. Yeah, Steve Sarkisian will say we're only focused on Texas State. That's our next opponent. But you know how this works. I think most fans know how this works.
As your scrimmage
now.
Yeah, I mean, you can go out there and roll out your scrimmage game and beat Texas State. What you did in the scrimmage is enough to beat them down probably, but that's not in week 2. You're going to have to do a lot of extraordinary things that are going to have to go your way. You're going to have to make them go your way. It's not because Ohio State's not going to give you anything. You're going to have to take it from them, whether it's at their place or on the road. There's things that you're going to have to take from them offensively, defensively, and special teams that have to be done. So it's not a walk in the park. That's why week 1 is so important. That's why all these days that we talk about now, BK, are really, really important. And good to get this flu thing, get it out of the way, get everybody's illness out of the way, get yourself back to being hydrated, and get yourself full steam ahead. That's boat talk. Full steam ahead. You got that? You got that, right?
Nice work, Captain.
You got that, Captain?
Yeah, appreciate that. I think they got to let me drive this ship at some point, right?
Did you see the captain run around and got all these bars? Who named that guy the captain anyway? How do you captain who? Come on.
I don't know. I don't know how you get that job. How do you get to become a captain of a cruise ship?
How do you feel when they start to dock that bad boy coming in sideways? That's a little weird, isn't it?
Hey, it's not my boat. If it gets hit, whatever.
Oh, how many things would you have bumped into trying to dock that thing?
It would have been more than a bump. I would have destroyed a whole village.
You just tell them to leave it out there a couple hundred yards and then take the little dingy deals. What are those things called?
The tenders.
Tenders, yeah. Tell them, hey, we're going to bring a bunch of tenders out here because I'm not pushing that thing up the side of that dock over there. I can't get this thing in there.
We did that yesterday, the tenders. False advertising, by the way. No chicken was served on board those little boats. But yeah, no, that's
kind of cool. Would have been. You're always looking at your watch like, hey, we better be back on time. You don't want to miss that. Hey, you don't want to miss them pulling out. That's a problem if you miss that takeoff time, isn't it?
That'd be a huge issue, especially considering the fact that I'm a +1 and my girlfriend's family is paying the way for me on this trip.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to miss that.
I cause the problem and the boat has to turn around and come pick me up, or I gotta take a flight home from somewhere because I've missed the boat, literally.
Yeah, the old man will just love that.
That would be an issue. That would be a big-time issue right there. Oh, man, the captain of the ship. He's
I spent a lot of time at the coffee place up there. I did a lot of Starbucks there.
On the boat?
Yeah, I did a lot of sitting there and being up front and watching that thing sail. That is awesome.
It's cool, man. Yeah, some of the views that you get, incredible. Yeah,
I always felt kind of weird when I was eating. Like when you went to formal dining and you were there and stuff was like moving and you were going like this. And the stuff on the table was moving a little bit. That's the one that freaked me out because it was dark outside. You look out and like, I don't see anything. Why are we going sideways here?
Yeah, they've been the captain's been blowing the horn or the whistle a lot at night. And it's like, what's going on? He keeps telling us, oh, yeah, we could barely see yesterday, so we had to keep blowing the whistle to make sure everyone knew we were coming. And I'm like, don't tell me that.
You're worried about icebergs out there, are you?
Don't tell me that. I don't need to know that you can't see. It's the last thing I want to hear on this.
So you've been to Glacier Bay already?
I've not been to Glacier Bay.
That scenery there is unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's tomorrow's trip.
Always kind of cool to know that when you look up and those things are like 60 feet, 60 stories high, that they're about the same going underneath into the water the same way.
Yeah, I haven't been to Glacier yet, but I'm excited to see one of those. I don't know what to
expect. Those are fun. It's cool. That's a cool experience.
Yeah, I'm very lucky, very fortunate. All right, am I showing you today?
What do you say? You don't want to miss the pull out on a free ride. That's for sure.
Yes, I'm not going to use that verbiage around.
Don't lose.
That is correct.
Don't want to use that around Dad at all.
Oh, man. All right, we'll take your thoughts. Dakota text line 512-222-9328. We've got some NFL news to get into. The Dallas Cowboys signing a future Hall of Famer over the weekend. We'll talk a little PGA Tour golf as well. We'll get to the BBK news and why today's not so bad. But before we go any further, how about another round of sponsor shout-outs?
Our good friends over at Sue Patrick since 1975 with the incredible selection of Longhorn apparel, collectibles, accessories, hats, T-shirts, hoodies. They have got it all. Waiting for those schedule mugs to get in so we can go over there and be a part of that. But they've got it all at Sue Patrick. A wide variety of men's and women's clothing in all sizes, from small to quadruple X. How's that sound? Quad X for some of the big ones, for the big ones on that boat that you see there. Sue Patrick offers free shipping on online orders of $59 or more, free curbside pickup, and plenty of parking space when you go by there in person at 5222 Burnett Road. 50 years of service in Central Texas. The Jellycats have been restocked. So head on over to our friends at Sue Patrick. For more information, please go to SuePatrick.com.
Yes, indeed. Love our friends at Sue Patrick, rocking the Sue Patrick lid today. Also, love our friends at Early Bird CBD.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow. Boy, oh, boy. I've been getting my lifting in, so I've had a little soreness, and I have not done my Early Bird drops to do my workout. I'm going to try that tomorrow, BK, and see how that works out for me. Hopefully I'll remember the count, like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I've got to have the early bird and see how that's going to work out for a big workout too. Now it works for me playing golf. I want to know if it works for me lifting, because the big man is, you see it. Don't pretend like you can't see it on TV. Yeah, that's a gun right there. Yeah.
It just looks like skin and bone, if you ask me.
No, man, no.
There's nothing popping
That's 152 pounds of man.
That's a youth extra large.
Oh,
Whoa, man,
boy.
right there. I don't know, 152. You can't call yourself the big man at that size. You got to put on a few more LBs before you get.
You got your early bird there with you on the trip. That has got to be cool. You go to
Oh.
Glacier Bay, get yourself a gummy and check that out.
It's actually a good idea. No, I did bring them, and the flight here took an early bird. I think I took one a couple of nights ago just to help me pass out. I brought them. I travel everywhere with them. Earlybirdcbd.com, pain relief, help sleeping. You just want to take the edge off at the end of a long day. Whatever your reason, there is a reason for you to try Early Bird CBD. Go to their website, earlybirdcbd.com. 20% off your first order. They've got the gummies, they've got the drops, they've got the tinctures. All of their products are designed to make you feel good, and that's exactly what they do. CBD plus a microdose of THC. So if you're getting drug tested, Early Bird's not for you. But again, you want to sleep better, you want to take the edge off, want to relax, maybe help with some pain, earlybirdcbd.com. Go check out their products, and don't forget the promo code Bucky for 20% off.
And speaking of pain, if you're seeking that specialized patient-focused orthopedic care, contact the experts and our friends at Texas Orthopedics. Their physicians offer comprehensive surgical and non-surgical orthopedic care for children and adult rehabilitation, spinal care, sports medicine, joint replacement. Their doctors are dedicated orthopedic surgeons there, and their goal is to get you right back into good health and the great quality of life that you folks deserve. Texas Orthopedics is the largest independent orthopedic practice in Central Texas. For more information, please go to txortho.com.
Yes, sir. And a shout out to McCall Custom Homes as well. Our guy, Mike McCall, and his great team at McCall Custom Homes. Well, they do just that. Custom homes, home building from scratch, or if you want to totally revamp and revolutionize your current space, reach out to the experts at McCall Custom Homes. More than 4 decades of experience in Central Texas. It's a father-son team. They're from here. They've stayed here. They know what it takes to turn a Central Texas home into something truly, truly special. So if you've been thinking about that dream home, if you've been thinking about turning your current place into your dream space, reach out to McCall Custom Homes. A+ rated by the BBB, tons of 5-star reviews online. You can reach out to Mike directly, 512-633-9580. You can find out more information online at McCallCustomHomesATX.com. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
Nice move by the Cowboys. I like that move.
Let's dive into that. Big news, big headlines from the NFL weekend. Of course, week 1 of the preseason is in the books, and there's plenty of storylines around the league to get into, and we could talk about some of the action from the weekend's worth of games. But the biggest news out of Dallas, the Cowboys are signing future Hall of Famer Von Miller to a 1-year deal. Of course, Miller is from the Metroplex, played his high school football at DeSoto, so he's returning home for his 15th NFL season, 37 years old. He leads all active players in sacks. He actually had 9 sacks last year for the Commanders, a pretty solid season for Von Miller. Obviously, this dude's resume is incredible. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 7-time All-Pro. He's going to waltz into the Hall of Fame whenever his career is over. But the Cowboys taking a flyer on an old edge rusher, Von Miller. You said you're a fan of the decision.
Yeah, I think I like the fact that now you got not only a guy who still is pretty active at 37, can get it done if he stays healthy. If he stays healthy, he'll be a big impact on some of the younger players. He'll be able to teach guys on the fly, on the field. They'll see how a real pro does his work. And if he can help you and he's still got something, left in the tank, that'll be good. I mean, he's not going to get you 25 sacks, but if he can get you 8 or 9 sacks during the course of a year, that's great for them.
Yeah. He's a winning player. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been around the block. I mean, he can kind of be a coach on the field for some of the other Cowboys edge rushers. And they've got some young guys in that room with Donovan Ezeraku and Malachi Lawrence, who was their other first-round pick this year. James Houston, Sam Williams. I mean, that's a good guy for all of those guys.
Absolutely. Is he a 2-time Super Bowl champ? Did he win one? Did he win one? Did he play for the Rams when they won?
I don't think he was on that team.
No. But he's got one with Denver, right?
Yeah, won it with Denver. I think he was the MVP of that game with Denver.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's a stud. Again, the resume speaks for itself. You're right. Staying healthy, that's been a big issue for Von Miller in the later stages of his career. He just hasn't been able to be on the field. Now, he's lost a step. He's not going to get you 15 to 20 sacks this season. But if he can stay healthy, then he could get you around 9, which he's not
going to be an every down player. He's going to come in there in situations and and have plenty of energy. But he's just such a good pro,
Yeah, I think of what the Cowboys got from Jadeveon Clowney last year, who obviously
Sure.
signed with the Texans back to where he started his career. But Clowney led the Cowboys in sacks with 8.5. So the pass rush wasn't that great, but they took a flyer on an older guy. Obviously, he's a talented player, has a pretty nice resume. Now, Clowney doesn't have the resume that Von Miller has, but sort of a similar situation again where it's, guy late in his career, see what he's got left. Hopefully he makes an impact for you as a part of your rotation. And again, I expect him to help coach some of the younger guys on that team too.
Yeah, I do too. I think he'll be a positive impact for that team.
Yeah, and good call, Buck. Jake says he was on that Rams team who won the Super Bowl, so good memory.
So he's got two of them. Yeah, I thought he was with the Rams. Yeah, so he's got 2 Super Bowls, 2 different teams. That's awesome.
Got 2 rings. Yep. So, look, the Cowboys, they need more from their pass rush this year. That was obviously a huge talking point all season long after the Micah Parsons trade last offseason. The Cowboys had issues everywhere on defense, but not being able to generate a consistent pass rush did not help the cause. And they went out and got Rashawn Gary, and they spent one of their first-round picks on Malachi Lawrence. They re-signed James Houston. Now they go out there and bring in Von Miller. So they're trying. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but they're trying to revamp that pass rush. And obviously having guys like Quinnen Williams on the inside is a big deal because that dude can get pressure from the defensive tackle spot. But yeah, Dallas needs a lot more from its defensive front this year, and hopefully Von Miller can help give that to them.
Yeah, like Bear saying, Von Miller might get you 8 sacks all year, and he'll be an assistant coach towards the end of the year. Well, he's an assistant coach just being on the field every day at practice for some of these young guys. And as I said, I wouldn't expect him. I don't even expect him to get Clowney numbers. If he gets 8 sacks, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
as long as he can stay healthy, and just not be just limping around there the whole time.
I would take 8 sacks. I think the Cowboys would take 8 sacks from Von Miller at this stage in his career.
Oh, for sure.
37 years old, going into his 15th year in the league, a lot of wear and tear on that body. He's not going to get to 8 sacks if he only plays 8 games. So
right.
If he gets to that number, that means he's playing, 14, 15, 16, or 17 games.
And he's staying healthy. Yeah.
Right. Which is what they are looking for. So I like the pickup. There's still some other big free agents that are out there, including Bobby Wagner. There's a couple of guys in the secondary that could maybe make some sense for Dallas too. I don't know if this was the big splash that Jerry Jones was talking about at the start of training camp. Remember, he was hinting towards making some more big moves. I think that was more about a trade, and obviously Von Miller was not a trade. He was just a free agent. So we'll see if Jera and company have another ace up their sleeve, but I like the pickup.
Well, they seem to have found a couple wide receivers in training camp that are having a decent camp besides the 2 stars at wide receiver. You're always looking for a 3rd and a 4th on this team because those guys, it's hard for those 2 to stay healthy the entire time because they go full out and diving, and CeeDee Lamb always gets banged up somewhere down the line. So, I saw, I think it was Cam Brown that caught a nice pass in the corner, one-handed, did a good job. They've got a couple of guys.
Well, the Cowboys beat the Seahawks, if anyone cares, 17-7, the final score. What do they say, Buck? To be the champs, you got to beat the champs?
Absolutely.
So can we declare the Cowboys champs since they –
No, we can't do that.
Can't do that? Okay.
No.
All right. Yeah, I mean, no starters played for either team on Saturday. The battle for QB2 in Dallas is, I guess, worth monitoring, although if Dak has to miss significant time, cancel Christmas, the season's over. But Joe Milton and Sam Howell, I thought both of them had some nice moments in the game. You mentioned Camden Brown. Yeah, cool story. The undrafted free agent from Georgia Southern, guy who started his career at Auburn, transferred to Georgia Southern, put up some nice numbers there. 3 catches, 62 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns, including some really nice grabs in the end zone. And then Jaden Blue got some run. Not a great statistical day for him. 8 carries for 19 yards. Did have a couple of catches. Made a couple of guys miss on a screen pass. He's playing with a bunch of backup offensive linemen.
He just needs to keep on playing. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. He's got to earn a spot on this team. And I guess he's fighting for the RB2 battle with Malik Davis, who played pretty well last year.
Yes, he did.
Phil Maffa, who got a little banged up, but seems to be okay. So the Cowboys still trying to find an answer for their backup running back behind Javonte. And yeah, big couple of weeks, both in camp, but also these final 2 preseason games, I think, for Jaden Blue to solidify a spot on the roster, number one, which I do think he'll be on the team, but also to be that number 2 running back option that the Cowboys were hoping they were getting when they took Blue in the 5th round out of Texas last year. So not a huge day for him, but it's one preseason game. We'll see what he does next week.
No doubt.
So those were your Cowboys storylines. Other headlines from around the NFL, Jeremiah Love, the 3rd overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals, he's dealing with a high ankle sprain. Not great.
I didn't think he was going to play in that game, but, dude, he played and he ran like a dude possessed. He runs hard all the time.
Yeah, he was not treating that like a preseason game.
No, man. He was coming up on guys and running them over and jumping over the top of them. And they said if it would have been a regular season game, he would have been back in the game. He said, I would have been back playing. He goes, my little ankle, I got a little tweak. Now they're ready to keep me out for a week. He said, if I had to play, if that's a regular season game, he goes, I'm back in that game and playing with that tweak. That guy is mean.
Yeah, 11 carries, 58 yards, also 3 receptions for Jeremiah Love in Arizona's preseason opener against Vegas. We'll see if he plays the rest of the preseason. They might just keep him out as a
I know he wants to play, and he just wants to be a football player. I'm putting that guy on the shelf from this point on. I saw enough of him in the first preseason game to know how good he is.
Yeah, you spent your 3rd overall pick on him.
Yes.
You can't get him.
I want to go into the season with that guy being 100%.
Exactly. You can't get him more hurt in these meaningless preseason
No.
games. So he did play. He looked pretty good when he did play. But, yeah, that's something to monitor. And then the other big injury news, Jamal Adams. I don't know if this is still considered big injury news at this point because he's not very good anymore.
Yeah, he's on the back end of his career.
But he is on your Vikings now. And, he's already out for the season, suffering a season-ending knee injury in the Vikings preseason game against the Giants. Sorry about that,
Yeah.
Buck.
Yeah, that's the last stop on the bus stop for him in his career, I got to believe, at his age. What is he, 30, 31 years old? It's time. And he's been injured a lot lately.
He's only 30 to 31?
Yeah, and guess what? He's on the back end of his career because he's been injured a lot.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. He's definitely towards the end. But, God, if he's only 30 or 31, that's pretty fast fall from grace for a guy who was one of the best safeties in the league for a few years.
Well, when you hit the way he hits and when you play the way he plays, something's going to happen. This was a no contact deal. This was just a turn and twist, and there goes the knee.
There goes the knee. Good start for your Vikings, and congrats, by the way. I haven't seen you since Kyler Murray was named the starter.
Yeah, that little guy's starting now over that other little guy.
Oh, is JJ the little guy too?
Oh yeah, they're both little guys.
Well, JJ plays little. I don't think he is little like Kyler. I don't think he appreciates that. He's already having a bad enough week losing his job to a small fry. Now you got to dunk on him like that?
Sorry, little man.
Here's Kyler walking into Vikings
going to the
practice.
stadium for the practice.
Yep,
that's not nice.
That's a QB1 walk if I've ever seen one right there from little Kyler Murray. So going to be a fun year for your Minnesota Vikings. Get ready for that. All right, other sports headlines from the weekend. We'll get to the BBK news momentarily. How about Scotty Scheffler, Buck?
Boy, did he boat race those guys. Speaking of being on a boat, those guys were just on board with his ship, that's for sure.
Yeah, finally picks up that elusive second victory of the season. Did it in dominant fashion in the opening tournament of the FedEx Cup playoffs. The St. Jude Championship in Memphis. Shout out to our friends at St. Jude. Shooting a 4 under 66 yesterday. He won by 4 strokes, about a 61 on Saturday. The 8-shot victory, the largest margin of victory in that tournament in 68 years. And how about this stat? You know, Sundays are scary for a lot of people. We see it happen in majors. We see it happen in regular tournaments where a guy has a 54-hole lead and just totally falls apart on the final day. Just the pressure gets to him, or somebody makes a big charge and he just doesn't have enough. Scotty Scheffler, Buck, it's the 11th straight time where he's won a tournament where he's entered the final round with a lead. So you don't even need to watch on Sunday. If Scotty Scheffler has a lead on Saturday, it's over. Go ahead and give him the big check right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, when guys like Siwoo Jim and I Am Close are trying to catch that guy. Forget about it. If it's not Matsuyama, those other dudes are not catching him.
Who is
I never thought
Jim? What is
Siwoo, I am Jim. I just didn't think those dudes were going to catch him anyway.
talking about Siwoo Kim?
Oh, is that what it is? Siwoo Kim. Okay. I am Jim. It's not I am Jim.
Tom Kim?
None of those dudes. If it's not Matsuyama, none of those way too low guys are going to catch him.
Something Wong?
Because they're not going way too low against him.
No one was going lower than Scotty, and well, you're offending a lot of people, so I'm going to get you back on track here. $3.6 million for Scotty Scheffler, by the way.
How about that for the St. Jude's Classic? Hey, give that money to the kids.
And he also clinched an additional $23 million in bonus money because he's going to be number one through next week's BMW Championship.
Wow.
Apparently, there's a huge bonus. Obviously, you get, 40 mil if you win the entire thing? But
yeah, it's a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, because he's
thanks to your live golf guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, those guys now can't wait to get back to the PGA Tour where they can get some money. Well, they got some in the bank for a while.
They do have some in the bank. Those guys can't wait to just golf somewhere. It doesn't sound like they're
just go to the club and play against their cheaters again. You know, put some money up, put some of their own money up.
Yeah, that's what's happening right now. It's a mess with the Live Golf Tour. They're canceling their team championships, and it's falling apart. So, yeah, that'll be a storyline to monitor.
They keep saying that, but I keep seeing it on like Fridays. They're playing.
Yeah,
somebody puts up some money somehow.
They they were going to finish this season. I don't think they're playing the team championship. I think that event got canceled, but they didn't totally pull the plug on the year. It's just the guy who was funding them, the Saudi PIF fund, they stopped funding them. So they're trying to finish the season, and then they're looking for investors in hopes of keeping this league alive. But yeah, they're still playing out as much of the year as they can, and then I guess they'll try to figure out if Live can continue beyond this season. Not looking good.
Hey, if I'm a FedEx Cup guy, I'm just trying to get to third place to get my money.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking low. I'm going low bar. How do I get in the top five? That's what I'd be thinking. How do I get to the top five at the end of this deal?
Yeah. Well, for Scotty Scheffler, the TPC Southwind was the course he had played the most times without winning. And also, that was the only FedEx Cup playoff event that he had not won before. So scratch both of those things off the bucket list. He continues to add to his incredible resume, and we'll see if he can win the Tour Championship. He's going to start, not this coming week. You got BMW and then the Tour Championship, but he's already done enough to clinch first place going into the Tour Championship. So he's going to start that at -10, and he'll get that 2-shot lead over second place, and good luck catching up to Scotty there.
Are we still doing that? You get that lead. That's still a part of this.
Oh yeah. Are you anti that?
There's got to be some other way. I just don't. Even that 10-stroke lead is like.
Well, not a 10-stroke lead. The second place guy is at -8, so it's not like he's at 10 under and everyone else is even.
There's got to be a different way to have that end.
I don't know. I feel like you deserve it. I feel like if you are the number one player, you should get the benefit of getting a head start, because otherwise it's like, I don't want to say what's the point of all of these tournament wins, because you're still winning money.
Right. It shouldn't be, there's nothing even about being there the way he's played.
Yeah, no, I like the format. I like the way that it's set up, and we'll see if Scotty can win the FedEx Cup and be the golfer of the year once again.
He still may be, even if he does. I mean, he's pretty close to wrapping that up. All those second places, finishes, those $2.5 million prizes.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's a quote-unquote down year for Scotty Scheffler, and he's still so much better than everybody else in the world.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah. Fun to watch.
Well, I saw Jordan Spieth play, and he looked a little bit better, and then he just went into starting to talk to himself again. Once that guy starts talking to his clubs and the crowd and himself, he just gets thrown off. He goes into another zone. It's one of those when he's kind of quiet and things are going his way, and his crazy personality doesn't come out, boy, because when he starts talking, it gets over in a hurry for him.
Yeah, well, he's done. He's out of the playoffs now.
Yeah.
He's outside of the top 50. So, he's not going to advance, and That's tough. Sad to watch.
It certainly is.
One Longhorn dominating, the other Longhorn still trying to get back to his dominating ways, but it's been a long time for Jordan
Boy, it
Spieth.
has.
So there you go. There's your PGA Tour golf update on a Monday program. All right, a couple more quick sponsor shout outs. We'll get to the BBK news and why today's not so bad. Buck, are you good?
I'm good, buddy.
All right. Shout out to Sleep Cycle Center.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to sleep good, these are the people to reach out to. SleepCyclecenters.com. That's their website. I'm going to give you that right off the bat. Remember that. That's the place to go to get your sleeping problems taken care of. If you snore, if your partner snores, if you have trouble falling or staying asleep, if your partner has trouble falling or staying asleep, it's too important to keep putting off. Your sleep is the most important thing you do in this life. Get it fixed with our guy, Dr. Chad, and his team at Sleep Cycle Center. More than 22 million Americans have undiagnosed sleep apnea. It can be a serious health risk. NFL Hall of Famer Reggie White lost his life in his sleep because of undiagnosed sleep apnea. Dr. Chad lost his own father in his sleep due to undiagnosed sleep apnea. He never got it taken care of, literally took him his life. They don't want that to happen to you. Get your sleeping problems corrected. Free consultations if you tell them you heard about them on this show. Also, $100 off an at-home sleep study if you mention Bucky and BK. Go online, sleepcyclecenters.com to book that free in-person consultation today. And also, who am I missing here? Oh, Waterloo. Waterloo Printing and Graphics. If you need
Absolutely.
merch, shirts, signs, stickers, posters, anything, we get our merch from Adam and his great team at Waterloo Printing and Graphics. They can do the same for you. Tailgate parties coming up. You want the koozies? You want the cool shirts? You want the custom barbecue apron? Something like that?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. They'll customize it the way you want it. They're based in Austin. They'll get you what you need very, very quickly. You reach out to Adam at 512-300-9641. You can follow them on Instagram at Waterloo Printing.
Very nice.
All right. The BBK News, an abbreviated edition of the BBK News on a Monday show. And I've had this audio for a while here. I kind of want to play this because I got a kick out of it, and I think you will too. This comes from Adam, a.k.a. Pac-Man Jones.
That guy's still around?
Well, he's still alive.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, still around without being like under the jail.
Yes, I think so, because he was recently on a podcast. And, of course, longtime cornerback, spent 13 years in the National Football League from Atlanta, played his college football at West Virginia. And I know
Yes, he's a Mountaineer.
You've got some family ties
Yes.
to West Virginia. Here is Pac-Man Jones on YMH Studios explaining why he didn't go to Georgia Tech. Atlanta kid, got offered by Georgia Tech. He was thinking about going there for a while. Then towards the end of his recruitment, he ended up choosing West Virginia. And obviously the rest is history. But here was Pac-Man Jones talking about why he went to West Virginia instead of Georgia Tech.
I was committed to Georgia Tech.
You're committed to Georgia Tech.
I was committed to Georgia Tech.
Stay home, basically.
I was going to stay home. I had offers from everywhere: Georgia, Notre Dame, NC State, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Miami, Florida. I pretty much could have went anywhere besides Michigan and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And first I wanted to stay home. And then my grandma got sick with cancer. I was like, I got to get away from here. Just so mentally it don't drain me.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, Shane Gailey was the coach at Georgia Tech at that time. Yeah, I almost went to Georgia Tech. And then my boy Karen Fox, who went to Georgia Tech, who went to high school with me, played in the league for a good little while. He was like, bro, this school shit hard as I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, man, we got to go I said, y'all doing all the work? That one's off the list.
Yeah.
And so the visit I went to West Virginia, we wasn't doing no work. Work was football.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, you didn't have to tell me why you didn't go to Georgia Tech. I understood that from the get-go.
Yeah,
that's a little different curriculum there.
Yeah, Pac-Man Jones saying, hey, he was committed to Georgia Tech, but he had a buddy who was on the team, and he's like, oh yeah, we got to go to class. Like the school is hard. And he's like, nope, I'm gonna go to West Virginia instead.
No, football is our schooling.
Football is our school and the way it should be. Way to go, Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah.
And he said, what, his grandma got cancer, so he had to get away?
Yeah, that seemed kind of weird to say. I don't think he meant to put it that way, but then it's Pac-Man Jones. Maybe he did.
Yeah. Have I told you my Pac-Man Jones story before?
Uh-uh.
I was playing in a baseball tournament. This is back in middle school. I was probably, 12 or 13 years old. I was playing in a baseball tournament in San Diego, and he was on the Cowboys at this point. And the Cowboys were playing a preseason game in San Diego against the Chargers, of course, when they were there. And, you had a bunch of players were walking in and out of the team hotel, and I was staying at that hotel, and some guys were signing autographs and taking pictures, and there was a huge mass of people, obviously, watching the Cowboys, right, following them in and out of the hotel, taking pictures, whatever, the whole shebang. Like kind of late one night, there was a club in the hotel, and I was just walking around the hotel, and I saw Pac-Man Jones like sitting on a couch right outside the club, and he had a very attractive woman sitting next to him. And me thinking, like, first of all, it's Pac-Man Jones. I was at that age where autographs were really cool. Like, I wanted his autograph. But I'm also like, you know what? I'm gonna help this guy out. He needs me. Pac-Man needs me. He's got this hot girl on his arm. And I'm gonna go up to him and ask for an autograph, and that's gonna she's gonna fall in love with this dude. Like, this is going to give him the opportunity to sleep with this chick. When I was 12 or 13, probably kiss was what I was thinking of. And so I go up there, and I'm like, man, Pac-Man, huge fan. Can I get your autograph? And he says, F off, dude. Obviously, not the word F. He dropped an F-bomb on me. He says, F off, dude. And he kept talking to the woman. And I'm like, oh, okay. This guy's a D-bag, it appears.
Oh, my God.
Yep. So I was told to F off by Pac-Man Jones.
I was thinking maybe you were there for baseball, and maybe he came over and started playing baseball with you guys, like Eric Dickerson when he tried to drive those guys over.
Yeah.
When he was, at some Pop Warner game, and he wanted to jump in there, and he tried to drive over the kids. I thought Pac-Man may have tried to drive over you or something.
He probably would have punched me in the face if he could have. He was that pissed with me asking for an autograph. So
come on,
Pac-Man. I know everyone. I got a few autographs there. Like, everyone else was really not. Romo signed my hat. Like, it was great. Witten was there, but Pac-Man Jones, too cool for me, I guess. Didn't want me. I know. So I've hated him ever since.
Good for you.
And we don't forgive. We don't forgive. So there you go. There's your Pac-Man. I figured your kinfolk would get a kick out of.
I will. Let my sister know what a scumbag he is.
You would think if football is their school, they'd be a little better at football, but West Virginia, I guess they're not getting the best talent.
You were just a kid.
I know. It'd be one thing if I was like my current age asking for an autograph. I'd almost expect that reaction. It's like, aren't you too old to be doing this? I'm like a middle schooler, like in awe that my favorite football team is at the same hotel that I happen to be staying at. And again, most people were cool, but Pac-Man, not so much.
F off, kid.
Yeah, F off.
Oh,
F off,
gosh.
dude. There you go. All right, real quick, why today is not so bad. August 17th, National Thrift Shop Day. Are you a thrift shopper, Buck?
I used to be, yeah. I used to be a thrift shopper. I did. I would go and look for little weird knickknacks to put on my desk, and I may have gotten this little guy from a thrift shop, I believe, back in the day.
Oh, the Jeter?
Yeah, he didn't send it. You would think he sent this to me, but he didn't. I think I got it at one of those shops. I saw it. It wasn't at Goodwill, but it was at some sort of thrift shop. I got this.
All right, nice. So you're a thrift shop guy.
I do not thrift shop anymore. I do not go into those places. I don't go antiquing anymore. It's my wife calls it junk now, so I can't go in there.
Oh, I feel like most wives love the antiques.
No, she doesn't like the Texas antique shop thing.
Okay.
What is that called? Round Mountain or whatever it is.
Oh, Round Top.
Round Top. She doesn't do that stuff. Me, I can still go into those places. I just can't take anything back with me.
Yeah, just looking only.
Just looking only, yes.
That's all you get. National
Round Top or whatever, yeah.
Black Cat Appreciation Day, National Vanilla Custard Day, National
No
I Love
custard.
My Feet Day.
Nah, I'm good with that. I did my feet a couple of weeks ago. I'm good. I've been good to them. I got a couple months now.
Okay. And then a couple of
And I don't
kids'
black cat thing. You know, I did back in the day when I had Ricky's BMW when I was driving it. On man check, a black cat went right in front of that BMW. The next day, BK, around the same time I was driving on man check at night, the black cat came back across the street the other way on me, right in front of the car. 2 days in a row.
Ugh, I don't like that.
Yeah, that was really, really weird. And that I mean, it was at the same spot. I'm like, what the hell is this cat doing? Waiting for me to come by?
Yeah. I don't know. That's
Should have
creepy.
road runnered that cat.
Taking a golf club to him.
Yeah, or just drove him over. But I let him just pass on by. Get on across the street there, kitty cat.
Oh, man. Wish I had more time. There's a lot of good today. On this day in 1998, U.S. President Bill Clinton gives a televised national address acknowledging that he had an inappropriate relationship with former White House intern Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, he did all of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, he admitted. And that had to be a crazy day in television when that went down.
Gosh.
A couple of quick birthdays. Jorge Posada, speaking of your Yankees.
There you go.
Birthday. Thierry Henry, Christian Leitner, Dustin Pedroia, Red Sox, Dottie Pepper.
Who cares about that guy?
Rudy Gay.
Yeah.
And then Robert De Niro.
How old is Robert De Niro?
83.
Wow. Rest in peace, Tommy John.
Rest in peace, Tommy John. Belinda
Yes.
Carlisle, Sean Penn, Donnie Wahlberg. All birthdays today. And yes, we
Good
lost.
group.
We lost.
group.
No more surgery anymore. Tommy John is no longer with us.
No. Really good Yankee. And about 6 other teams that he played for.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so there you go. There's why today is not so bad. Davy Crockett, born on this day, now dead too. Texas legend. Shout out there.
Nice.
All right, well, that will do it for a Monday program. Thanks for tuning in.
Good job, man. It's good to be back with you.
Yeah, great to have you back. Shout out to Tyler Horka for joining us. More Texas football conversation, more Steve Sarkisian sound tomorrow, and Chris Phillips will join us to go around the SEC as well. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We will talk to y'all tomorrow.
Welcome.
Oh,